I allow myself to be who I am without explanations. I no longer need to justify my existence, my feelings, or my way of being. I no longer need to explain myself to the world in order to feel allowed to live. I give myself permission to be real, not perfect, not polished, not adjusted to expectations, just real. I release the habit of constantly explaining who I am and why I am this way. I no longer owe anyone a version of myself that feels easier for them to accept. I no longer shape myself to fit into someone else's comfort zone. I allow myself to feel what I feel without guilt. I allow myself to think what I think without fear. I allow myself to want what I want without apologizing. My emotions do not need approval. My truth does not need validation. My inner world does not need permission to exist. I allow myself to be who I am, even when I am misunderstood. Even when my choices don't make sense to others. Even when my path looks different. I release the need to be explained, justified, or approved. I am not a problem to be solved. I am a person to be lived. I allow myself to move through life at my own pace. I no longer rush to become someone else. I no longer compare my journey to anyone else's journey. I honor my rhythm, my sensitivity, my depth, my timing. I allow myself to be who I am without wearing masks, without pretending to be stronger than I feel, without hiding my tiredness, without forcing positivity. I allow myself to be human, sometimes confident, sometimes unsure, sometimes inspired, sometimes overwhelmed. All of this belongs. None of this disqualifies me from love or respect. I release the belief that I must earn the right to be myself. I release the belief that I must improve, fix, or justify myself to deserve acceptance. I do not need to be different to be worthy. I do not need to be quieter, easier, or smaller. I do not need to explain my boundaries. I allow myself to be who I am in my relationships. I no longer abandon myself to avoid rejection. I no longer betray my truth to maintain connection. I choose honesty with myself, even when it feels uncomfortable, even when it requires courage. I allow myself to say yes when I mean yes, and no when I mean no, without guilt, without explanations. My boundaries matter. My needs matter. My inner voice matters. I allow myself to be who I am even when fear is present, even when I don't have all the answers, even when I'm stepping into the unknown. Fear does not mean stop. Fear does not mean I'm wrong. It is simply a feeling, and I can still be myself with it. I allow myself to rest, to slow down, to listen inward. I release the pressure to constantly evolve, improve, or prove myself. I am allowed to simply exist. I am allowed to be enough right now. I allow myself to be who I am in silence, without explanations, without performance, without defense. I feel my body soften. I feel my breath deepen. I feel the tension leave my system. I am safe inside myself. I no longer run from who I am. I no longer fight myself. I allow myself to be who I am without explanations. And with each moment, this feels more natural, more grounded, more peaceful. I am. And that is enough. I allow myself to be myself here and now, calmly, naturally, truthfully. In this state, anything is possible.